So, Echte Dansford, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have a wealth of experience in the agri-food sector, from experience as a farmer and experience as a consultant, but also as an entrepreneur. And you're now active in the cultivated meat space. I'm curious just to ask about your career trajectory and understand how did you get to cultivated meat?
Yeah, I've actually had a very odd career. My first career was in the creative industry, so I actually worked in the film industry for a decade. But I'm from a farming family. We've farmed the same land for over 300 years, so I guess I had a fork in the road in terms of my career. Did I go back to the family farm, or did I continue in the film industry? And I chose to go back to the family farm. I went to a farm that hadn't really been invested in very well for the last 10 years before I took it over, and decided then that rather than continue largely in primary agriculture, that I actually needed to diversify the farm business. So I set up a specialist meats business.
On the meat and dairy question, so can you actually unpack for us, within the alternative protein space, what actually is cultivated meat?
So specifically, what we do as a company, so we produce technology, and the technology we produce is something called a bioreactor. And how that mimics the process of livestock is instead of feeding forage or grain to a cow, we take a cell from a cow and we feed the same nutrients that would have been in that forage or grain to a cow. And we do that in a machine called a bioreactor. So the difference really is that how we produce that animal part. The final ingredient is chemically and nutritionally exactly the same. But the real difference is, and if I consider the life cycle analysis that we've done as a company on our technology, in comparison to extensive beef production, and that's pretty good in terms of the world of beef, what we produce here in the UK, there's a reduction of 90% of land use, a 90% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and a 50% reduction in water use. So it's significant to produce exactly the same product that has the same chemical and nutritional values.
So that's a lot of environmental impact. Now, the question is, and this is interesting because we're seeing a lot of discussions on cost curves for the energy transition. Solar is now the cheapest source of energy, is outcompeting fossil fuels. We think that electric vehicles will probably reach price parity with internal combustion engines by, say, maybe 2024, 2025. And this is really a very important factor in getting people to shift their behaviors and their consumer preferences. How do you see the cost curves of, say, the alternative protein space generally evolving, how you've seen them evolving, and you see them evolving into the future, and perhaps more specifically for cultivated meat?
I think if we look at the traditional technology curves of when we would reach a point of price parity without kind of large-scale investment, it's probably going to take until the mid-2040s for cultured meat to come to a point of parity. But there's a reason why solar, for instance, is meeting that parity now, or even becoming cheaper, is because of environmental factors and global factors. So there will come a point much earlier than 2040 where we will see some kind of parity in that.